जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री षड गोस्वामी गण की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Thank you once again, dear devotees, for kindly assembling here for this 14th session on Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. I'm so happy that devotees are joining regularly and that we have had such a detailed discussion, and especially the previous talk was technically very intense, and I took a feedback from the devotees as to whether they were able to understand it easily. And I was happy to see that most devotees said that they were able to understand it in the first hearing itself. So I'm very happy, dear devotees, that all of you are enthusiastically participating in this Sankirtan Yagya, because speaking about Sankirtan is also Sankirtan. So all of you are enthusiastically participating in the Sankirtan Yagya, where we are discussing Sankirtan Yagya from so many different angles. I'm very thankful to our host for today, Param Karuṇā Prabhu, who has kindly agreed to host, because today Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu Prabhu could not be present. And I am thankful to each and every one of you for kindly giving your time and your attention to these wonderful subject matters. Dear devotees, without any further delay, let us dive into today's 14th session on Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. This is the first verse still going on, and we'll continue with the invocation verse composed specifically for this verse of the Siksastakam. Siksastakāmritābdhau yo majjanmajjayati svakan sagaurangastatastham mam kadabdhau krakshyati swayam. While drowning himself, Sri Gauranga simultaneously causes his near and dear ones to drown in the nectar ocean of Siksastakam. I am a mere bystander, waiting at the shore. When will Sri Gauranga forcibly pull me in that nectar ocean? We'll begin with a quote by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashay says, "Those who are afflicted with restlessness try to finish up their prescribed rounds of chanting as soon as possible. One should remain extremely careful not to commit such an offense while chanting." So, dear devotees, what happens is that many times we are very eager to complete our set of rounds within 2.5 hours. And then we give ourselves a specific deadline for finishing our 16 rounds. And as a result of that, we are constantly watching the clock as we are chanting our japa. And this violates one of the 6 qualities of good japa, as mentioned by previous acharyas. The previous acharyas have mentioned manah samharanam shaucham maunam mantrartha chintanam avyagratvam anirvedo japa sampatti hetava. Avyagratvam, to not be hasteful in chanting japa, is one of the 6 qualities of good japa. So therefore, it is preferable to divide one's japa into various parts so that we can chant with a peaceful mind. Srila Prabhupada often used to say, it is described in relationship to him, that he chanted 4 rounds in one part of the day, 4 rounds in another part of the day. So he divided his 16 into sets of 4, and in this way he completed his 16 rounds many times. And the original Bengali for this is from Bhakti Vinod Pani Vaibhav. It is in front of you. He's saying the same thing. Yahara vikshepa rupa pramada sakta tahara nirupit naam sankhya yata shighra shesh kare de paren tahar cheshta karen. नाम साधने यहाते से रूप अयत्न न होय यह बार बार सतर्कता सहित देखा आवश्यक. So he says the same thing that we read in English. We should not try to be very hasteful in trying to finish the prescribed number of japa. We are still in the first verse. I'll try to sing the first verse again, and then we'll look into the word for word. चेतो दर्पण मार्जनं भवमहा दावाग्निर्वापणम् श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदम् पूर्णामृतास्वादनम् सर्वात्मस्नपनं वरं विजयते Śrī-Krishna-Sankirtanam. This, dear devotees, is the first verse of Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam, originally compiled in the Padyavali by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. Here is the word for word Anvay. Param Karuṇā Prabhu, can you kindly read the Anvay in the proper order?
Yes, Prabhuji. It cleanses the mirror of the consciousness, eradicates the massive wildfire of material existence, causes a moonlight diffusion that blooms the night water lily of all-round auspiciousness, becomes the life and soul of the newlywed bride of all divine knowledge, swells the ocean of joy, causes an experience of complete nectarian bliss in each successive syllable as well as word, and thoroughly cleanses the entirety of one's self. That entity named Shri Krishna's Sankirtana reigns supremely victorious. You are muted, Prabhuji.
Dear devotees, we are finally on the 7th and final adjective, sarvātma-snapanam. That Sri Krishna Sankirtan thoroughly cleanses the entirety of one's self. So, snapanam means cleansing. Atma is self. Sarva Atma is entirety of oneself. We'll see the detailed meaning of sarvātma-snapanam in this particular context, and here is the same translation that Prabhu just read, and we have just arranged it in the form of a legible paragraph. Now, dear devotees, we'll try to understand the term sarvātma-snapanam. The first Sanskrit commentator is Shri Veer Chandra Goswami. Shri Veer Chandra Goswami is the earliest available Sanskrit commentator on Sri Padyavali. So we are taking his Sanskrit commentary. Sarvātma-snapanam, that it thoroughly cleanses the entirety of oneself. Shri Veer Chandra Goswami says, Sarvātma-snapanam, sarvan atmanas chitta buddhi dehan snapayati, tapa shanti purvakam ardri karoti iti tat. He says, Sarvātma-snapanam, this adjective means that Sri Krishna Sankirtanam cleanses. Cleanses what? Sarva. Sarva, what does sarva mean? The entirety of one's Atma. And what is the meaning of Atma? So he gives 3 meanings of Atma. Consciousness, he says Chitta, intelligence, Buddhi, and body, is Deha. So it cleanses sarvātma, that is all aspects of one's Atma, that is consciousness, intelligence and body. And Tapa Shanti Purvakam Ardri Karoti. Having pacified the burning sensation in the consciousness, intelligence and body, Sankirtanam affectionately moistens them. So this is what is being mentioned here, that there is thorough cleansing of three aspects. What are the three aspects? The consciousness, the intelligence and the body. Not only is there thorough cleansing, but there is also the extinguishing of the burning sensation and moistening or nourishing of these three entities. Now, we will notice that he translated Atma as three terms. What are the three terms? Chitta, Buddhi and Deha. How can one term, Atma, be translated into three? So, he is not going to just say without any proof, then he gives a pramana. He says, Atma puman svabhave cha prayatne dhairya chittayo buddhau dehe iti shabda ratnakarat. He says from the Shabda Ratnakar dictionary, from the Shabda Ratnakar Sanskrit lexicon, we know that Atma Puman, Atma is a masculine term and it takes various meanings. What are the meanings? Swabhave cha, first meaning is Swabhav. When we say Atma Nirikshan means analyzing one's own nature. So there Atma is used in the sense of Swabhav. Then Prayatne cha, and sometimes Atma is used also for Prayatna. For example, we say, Atma Bal means effort of one's own strength. So Prayatna. And Dhairya, perseverance also takes on the term, the meaning perseverance also is denoted by the term Atma. And Chitta, consciousness. And Buddhau Dehe, Buddhi and Deha, intelligence and body. So we can see the last three meanings are Chitta, Buddhi and Deha. All these meanings are taken on by the term Atma. So sarvātma-snapanam. So Shri Krishna Sankirtanam thoroughly cleanses these three aspects: consciousness, intelligence and body. And then he says, Etena sadhu upamam. Through the adjective sarvātma-snapanam, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is compared to a sadhu. Sadhu, saintly soul. So every adjective is comparing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam to some entity. Now here also Shri Krishna Sankirtan is compared to a sadhu because a sadhu cleanses one's body, mind and soul in his divine association. So this is sadhu upamam. This is the commentary of Sri Veerchandra Goswami. Now we see the commentary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. In his Anubhashya, he says, sarvātma-snapanam, sarvesham atmanam, sarvato bhavena atmano va, snapanam yasmat. He says the term sarvātma-snapanam means sarvesham atmanam snapanam, the cleansing of all souls, or the thorough cleansing of one's own soul. Both meanings. The cleansing of all the souls in the universe, or the thorough cleansing of one's own soul. Yasmat tat, it happens due to this Shri Krishna Sankirtana. This is a short commentary on this particular phrase. Shri Utsavanand in his Ananda Chandrika says, sarvātma-snapanam mana adi indriya ganatripti janana shilana. So sarvātma-snapanam means Shri Krishna Sankirtanam has the nature of generating complete satisfaction for all the senses, headed by the mind through their complete cleansing. After the complete cleansing, then we will be able to experience complete satisfaction for the senses. Still the term, we've just dived into the meanings of individual words till now. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, cleanses one's body, mind and soul. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam cleanses one. What is the meaning of this? We have to dive in greater depth. For this, we'll have to take help of another commentator. So, a commentator is coming up whose commentary is detailed. Dear devotees, we will now read from the commentary of Shri Radha Govindanath. Shri Radha Govindanath, in his brilliant commentary on this particular phrase, says the term sarvātma-snapanam means for the sarva, for the entire Atma. And he takes the same meaning, body, mind and senses. It is Shri Krishna Sankirtanam that causes thorough cleansing. Alright, this we have already heard. What is special about this commentary? Then he starts explaining. Now let's understand. If a man is walking, think of a man who is walking barefoot on an open ground on a hot summer afternoon, that too directly under the scorching rays of the sun. That man also has his head and upper portion of the body uncovered. Then after walking for a long time in this manner, his entire body will experience a terrible burning sensation on the outside as well as inside. So dear devotees, draw this picture within your heart because he's trying to explain the term. A man who has his head uncovered, his upper part of the body uncovered, is walking barefoot on an open ground where the direct scorching rays of the sun are upon him and is walking for a long time. Karuṇā Prabhu, what will happen to such a person?
Very, very distressed and waiting for some relief, jumping into a pool of water.
Yes, waiting for some relief, and Karuṇā Prabhu said jumping into water. I think you read his mind, Prabhu. So in such a situation, even if that man dives into a pool of cold water, takes a bath and drinks cold water, it is still not possible that his burning sensation may be driven away fully. Do you agree, Karuṇā Prabhu? Even after taking a bath in cold water, drinking cold water, the burning sensation may not go away fully. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I think I agree, Prabhuji. At least for some time, that will remain.
In my childhood, I once tried this. I was unaware what is the effect of walking barefoot in the summer. I was in my village and I walked barefoot in the summer and walked for a long time. And after walking for a long time, I realized that there are cracks on my heels. And when there are cracks on my heels, I took a cold bath, I drank cold water, I did all of the things that he has said. Still, those cracks would not heal just by drinking cold water and taking a cold bath. That night, I fell extremely sick. Because of the heat which entered the body through the feet, what happened is that I fell extremely sick, I had fever, and I threw up multiple times in the night. So, because of walking for a long time barefoot in the scorching summer heat, not only does it have an effect on your external body, that is cracked heels, which cannot be healed immediately by water, it also has an effect in the form of heat which gets stored up in your inner body, and it shows up in the form of disease. Therefore, it is not recommended. My parents always used to say, don't walk barefoot. But I learned by experience. I did not learn by listening to them. So, one experience was needed. And then I understood that I should always wear footwear. So, in such a situation, even if that man dives into a pool of cold water, takes bath and drinks cold water, it is still not possible that his burning sensation may be driven away fully. Now we understand in detail. He says, however, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is not like this. It is the tendermost, super sweet rasa that puts even the heavenly nectar to shame. This is Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And then he says the living entity is like that man burning outside and from within. And this living entity is wandering since beginningless time. He says Anadikal, in the desert of material existence, and is thoroughly burnt up by the three miseries. The three miseries, as most of us know, Adi Daivik Klesh, Adi Bhautik Klesh, Adhyatmik Klesh. Misery is caused by environmental factors or higher powers. Misery is caused by one's own mind. Misery is caused by other living entities. These are the three types of miseries, and he is burning in these three miseries. Then he says all aspects of the body, mind, and senses of such a suffering living entity are fully bathed, completely softened, and nourished by Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Dear devotees, different devotees have an experience of this to different degrees. All of us agree about one point. Ever since we started Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, many miseries of our material life were driven away. Sometimes it happens so that the material miseries are driven away and we become so isolated from material miseries that we forget that it was actually the process of bhakti in the form of Sankirtan that drove away our miseries. We forget for some time because we are so happily absorbed on the path and we have the philosophy as a shield. A person who is not a devotee, when they see unhappiness and misery in their day-to-day life, they have no protection and they have no comprehensive understanding of why miseries come. But those of us who have engaged in Shri Krishna Sankirtanam are fully aware of Tattva. We are fully aware of why miseries come and what sort of a place this world is. And Shri Krishna Sankirtanam tells us how to not be affected by those miseries, and it also teaches us how to become happy by executing the process of Sankirtan. So in this way, we are isolated from a lot of miseries that are found in the material world. But those who are not devotees, they often experience a lot of miseries in the world and they are not able to find a solution. The devotees, he says, when Shri Krishna Sankirtanam mercifully manifests itself on the speech faculty, the tongue becomes overflooded with joyous bhakti ras. But this is not the experience, dear devotees, of many of us who are chanting or who are executing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Because we are thinking that by our own effort, that rasa or that joy will become manifest. This is not the case. Here he says, when Shri Krishna Sankirtanam mercifully manifests itself on the speech faculty, the tongue becomes overflooded with joyous bhakti ras. So dear devotees, once Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself has decided that I will appear within the heart, I will appear in the speech faculty of this person, then along with prema, when one does Sankirtan, when one has Shri Krishna as the French say, l'amour de la vie, like the love of their life, that particular mood of performing Shri Krishna Sankirtanam is completely different. This is when the tongue becomes overflooded with joyous bhakti ras. And then Sri Krishna Sankirtanam enters the heart and similarly overfloods it with that same joyous bhakti ras. And then this causes waves after waves of joy to manifest within the heart. Once the heart is overtaken by bhakti ras, then each and every sense organ is overtaken by that bhakti ras. Dear devotees, we can have a similar, we can have a understanding of how this is by thinking of somebody who is very dear to us in the material world. We can have a rough understanding. Thinking of somebody who is very dear to us in this world and how the chanting of the name of that person who is very dear to us, how it overfloods our heart with joy. And dear devotees, A similar feeling, but on a completely transcendental level and multiplied infinitely, is present with Shri Krishna for the Premi Bhaktas. When they utter the name of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, at that particular point of time, their tongue, speech faculty, their hearts become overflooded with joyous bhakti ras. And once the heart is overflooded, all the sense organs are taken over, and wave after wave, snapanam, wave after wave of bathing in the ocean of that prema takes place. And then these waves of joy arising from the heart take over the body and the senses, and then immerse them fully in the flow of joyous bhakti ras. It says not only in the heart, even if the nectar of Sri Harinam arises in any particular sense organ, it completely floods every other sense organ. Not only every other sense organ, Sri Radha Govinda says every other molecule, not only every other molecule, every atom of the body, and inundates it with joy. This is not an over exaggeration, dear devotees. Those who have experience of Bhakti Ras, they know that each and every part of their body experiences that delight, that joyous, exhilarating delight of Bhakti Ras. And he'll not speak without Praman. He says this fact is confirmed in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam. What does Brihad Bhagavatamritam say? Ekasminnindriye pradhutam namamritam rasai आप्लावयति सर्वाणि इंद्रियाणि मधुरैर्निजै. एकस्मिन् इंद्रिये प्रादुर्भूतम नामामृतम रसै. When namamritam, nectar of nam, pradurбhūtam appears, ekasmin indriye, just any one sense. Aplavayati sarvāni indriyani, it inundates all senses with varieties of its own sweetness. When devotees are uttering the name of Bhagavan, and those particular names generate immense sweetness for them, because that is the only practice they wish to execute. In this world, for them, there is no other source of joy existing other than relishing the names of that Bhagavan who is very dear to them. Because Bhagavan has become Pritir Vishay. He has become the support of their love, the exclusive support of their love. And what does a person in this world survive upon? A person survives upon love. Everybody needs love to survive. But when that love is invested in Sri Bhagavan, at that particular point of time, everything in relation to Sri Bhagavan becomes super attractive. And therefore, we see all these statements of attractiveness. But for us, it is as if a coating of plastic has been put upon our tongue. That is what happens with us. Everybody describes Bhagavan's Naam as so sweet. And when we try to relish that Naam, it is as if our tongue has been laminated with plastic. And it doesn't give any experience to us. That is because Bhagavan has not become Pritir Vishay. He has not become the support of our love. Bhagavan has not agreed to become our love. And as long as Bhagavan has not agreed to become our love, till that point of time, that sweetness will not be experienced. Therefore, dear devotees, first and foremost, Bhagavan must agree to descend. And along with Bhagavan, his Naam will descend. And then his Naam will take over our heart, our tongue, all the senses. And then whatever experience the previous acharyas have had, that experience will also be relished by us. In this way, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam generates complete satisfaction for all the senses. This is the explanation of Sri Radha Govindanath. Now, let's move ahead and understand the explanation of our final commentator for today, Sri Kanupriya Goswami. He is also known as Nam Vigyan Acharya. So, he explains the term by saying, previously, when the adjective Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam, that Sri Krishna Sankirtanam causes waves after waves of increasing joy, in the ocean. this term was discussed. Therein it was described how the highest achievable goal is to attain prema in the mood of a manjari. He said that was the highest wave of joy, anandam mudibardhanam. The highest wave in the ocean of joy. So is seva in the mood of a manjari. He says, due to Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, waves after waves, come, and the ocean of ananda of this prema swells and completely drowns. Snapanam. This is what he's indicating. And just as a person drowning in an ocean becomes drenched in each and every body part, a person who has drowned in an ocean, there is not even a single body part that remains. In fact, a person who truly drowns, water even enters within his body. Not simply does water, bathe his external body, but water enters inside his body. So just as a person drowning in an ocean becomes drenched in each and every body part, similarly the Premi Bhakta becomes fully drenched in the ocean of Prema Seva. Now we have a very negative impression of drowning because we think drowning means death. That is what we feel. So drowning doesn't mean death here because this is the ocean of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has compared the devotees to Makara. Bhakta Makarana Shīlita Mukti Nadikan Namasyami. That's what Sri Rupa Goswami says. So Makar is the king of all the aquatic creatures in the ocean. Some people say Makar is shark. But those who have dived deeply into this, there was previously a fish in the ocean. Nowadays, only skeletons of that fish are found. It's called some megalodon shark. So for those of us who don't know what this particular shark is, so I will try to show you that in history there was a shark, and I'll show you the spelling so that you can research it. So these were megalodon sharks, which they have become extinct now, approximately 23 to 3.6 million years ago. So this is, this was much more bigger than the shark that is found nowadays. And if you see what was the approximate size, they have tried to find out. And the approximate size, was up to 20 meters. So 20 meters is the approximate size of the shark. So if you have a particular shark of that particular size, obviously it is going to be the king of the ocean. So Sri Rupa Goswami says, Bhakta Makaran. The devotees are like these mega sharks of the ocean. And do the mega sharks drown in the ocean or do they swim in the ocean? They swim in the ocean. Although in a sense they are fully immersed within the waters of the ocean. But they never die because of the waters because they are makara. They are like the mega sharks of the ocean of Bhakti Ras. So when we say drowning, it means that the devotee swims fully in all directions of the ocean, just like a mega shark, Bhakta Makara. So sometimes the term Makara cannot be translated. You can translate Makar as mega shark. That is what you can, that is the best possible translation that I can think of. So Makar is a mega shark in the ocean. Krishna wears Makar Kundal or earrings which are representative of mega sharks, the king of the ocean. So similarly, the Premi Bhakta becomes drenched in the ocean of Prema Seva. So the living entity who has drowned like a makar in the ocean of Madhurya Seva Ras, this Prema Ras, finds that his entire self, his senses, his life airs, his intelligence, his mind, all of them have fully become immersed in this joyous Ras. Fully cleansed, fully joyous. This is sarvātma-snapanam. Dear devotees, now Sri Kanupriya Goswami starts explaining something technical. So let us understand from another angle. Shri Krishna is the fountainhead of all charm. Charm attractiveness, desirability. You can put many words. Shri Krishna is the main source of all charm. Due to his charm, all other things appear charming and dear to us. Just as it is said in many places that because the sun is there, because of the light of the sun, other lights are deriving their energy. If sunlight would not be there, all other forms of light, including electricity, would cease to exist. Because of sun's light, all other forms of light exist. Similarly, because of Krishna's charm, everything else in the world appears charming. And he says this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. And he quotes a verse from the chapter of the Yajna Patnis on the 10th canto. Prana buddhi manah svatma darapatya dhanadayah yat samparkat priya asams tatah kon vaparah priya. Yat samparkat, due to contact with him, Krishna, their prana, their life airs, buddhi, their intelligence, manaha, their mind, svatma, their own self, their dara, their spouse, kids, wealth, etc. are dear to these wives of Brahmanas. Everything is dear to the wives of the Brahmanas because of contact of Krishna, because Krishna is dear to them. Because Krishna is charming, everything else appears charming to them. Dear devotees, who else can be dearer to these ladies than him? This is the case with all the Vrajavasis. Mother Yashoda went and saved the milk which was boiling. And the question is asked, why did she give preference to milk over Shri Krishna? Because the milk is dear to her because Shri Krishna is dear to her. Because of his charm, everything appears charming. So we have started a new line of thought that Shri Krishna is the most charming and he appears most joyous. And he says, because Shri Krishna is charming and dear to us, Ananda or joy is experienced in contact with him. And dear devotees, this joy is nothing but an experience of something. And what is that particular thing? Ras. In fact, Ras is the cause and Ananda or joy is the effect. Experience of Ras leads to Ananda. So dear devotees, when somebody experiences Ras in relationship with Shri Krishna, the effect of that Ras is Ananda, joy. So Ras is the cause, experience of Ananda is effect. Then he gives an example to further illustrate. Just as flower is the cause and aroma is the effect. Similarly, Ras is the cause and Ananda is the effect. Then he says, the Shruti confirms, the Vedas confirm. What do the Vedas confirm? Raso Vaisaha Rasam Yevayam Labdva Nandi Bhavati. Saha, that Bhagavan is Rasa personified. And Rasam hi eva ayam labdva is only by experience of Rasa that a living entity becomes truly joyous. So Rasa is the cause, joy is the effect. This is the case for living entities. Why is he saying this? Because there is a difference between living entities and Krishna. Param Karuna Prabhu. In the case of Krishna, is Krishna inherently joyous or does Shri Krishna need Rasa to become joyous?
He's inherently joyous.
Wonderful. Now, we living entities, do we need Rasa to become joyous?
Yes.
So that is the difference between us and Krishna. Shri Krishna is inherently joyous. He doesn't need any separate experience or any separate cause for joy. But we living entities, we need rasam hi eva ayam labdva anandi bhavati. Only by attaining ras do we become joyous. So this is the difference. That the living entity becomes joyous only as an effect of rasa in contact with Bhagavan. Thus, Krishna is the Vishay, support of Ananda, and we are Ashray, experiences of that Ananda. Now, this Vishay and Ashray is very important term. Many times it is used in the sense of drama. Dear devotees, please try to understand one thing. Let's say a drama is going on and you are sitting in the audience. Let's say the drama is pertaining to Shri Krishna Leela. And Shri Krishna is performing the pastime of lifting Govardhan hill. And dear devotees, we are looking at Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, who are looking with wonder and amazement at Shri Krishna. At this point of time, we are sitting in the audience. So Shri Krishna or Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, all these who are the actors who are playing these roles, if our attention is fixed on Shri Krishna who is lifting Govardhan hill, then Shri Krishna becomes the support. He becomes the Vishay and we become the Ashray. If our attention is fixed on Nanda Maharaj or Mother Yashoda, the actors who are playing the roles, they become the Vishay and we become the Ashray. And then by looking at them, our joy is nourished. So they are the Vishay, they are the support, and we are the experiencers of that joy. Similarly, in the domain of bhakti, Krishna is the main support, he is the main Vishay. And we are the Ashray, we are the experiencers of that particular Ananda. Now, since we are Ashray, we are experiencers, and we are not Vishay, so we need to do something. Only when we send out waves of Sthai Bhav, and then this Sthai Bhav comes in contact with the Vishay, with Shri Krishna, then the Vishay becomes Rasik, the Vishay attains Rasaness, and then it becomes delightful for us, because we are the Ashray. Dear devotees, in a drama, you may see there are many people who are not interested in the drama at all. It is said that these people are as good as paintings on the wall. Even if they wouldn't have attended the drama, it would be okay. Why? Because they are not projecting any sthai bhav. They are not projecting any emotions of the heart towards the Vishay, towards the support. But if there is a person sitting in the audience who is projecting his sthai bhav towards the Vishay, then the Vishay, that support, becomes full of ras for that person. And then that ras is experienced in that heart of the person who is sitting in the audience. And then when that ras is experienced by the person who is sitting in the audience, then that ras leads to joy, and joy is the final attainment of the living entity. That is what is the process of ras nishpatti. That is how ras is extracted. That is how ras is experienced. Many times, many verses are spoken in the Bhagavatam classes. And then we just say, that's all right. Yeah, Krishna Leela. Verses after verses are being recited, and we are saying, yeah, that's okay. It doesn't affect us. But if we are rasik, sahriday, if we understand that, if we have sthai bhav, then those verses will start having impact upon us. And then we will experience that. So why does everybody not experience this joy? The reason is because people don't have sthai bhav. Why do they not have sthai bhav? The reason is because this sthai bhav has not descended upon their heart. Why has it not descended upon their heart? It is because Bhagavan has not yet agreed for it. That is the only reason. That is the only reason. In a normal drama, in the material world, the sthai bhavs are already present within our heart. When we go watch a normal drama, an ordinary drama, what happens is material emotions are already present in our heart. Piteousness, anger, humor, all those emotions are already present in our heart. So as soon as the actors act it out, and if we are like-minded, immediately material ras is produced and we experience it. But bhakti ras is not like that. Bhakti ras has to be gifted by Shri Krishna or his devotee. When bhakti ras is gifted by Shri Krishna or his devotee, only then can we project a sthai bhav in relationship with Shri Krishna. Only then can we become experiencers of that particular ras. Otherwise, more or less, we become like paintings on the wall when Shri Krishna Katha is going on. That is what is happening here. So, all the wonderful descriptions of the Acharya, Krishna Karunā-amritam, Govinda Lila-amritam, all of this becomes more or less non-relishable for us. because we are not gifted with sthāyi bhāv. So that is what he is saying here. This sthāyi bhāv generates anand, dear devotees. And this sthāyi bhāv is nothing but it is one of the stages of bhakti. Because bhakti is sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti and prem bhakti. So we can say that actual bhakti generates ananda. We can say this thing. Bhakti is what generates ananda. So dear devotees, very important. Ananda resides inherently as Hladini Shakti in Krishna. He doesn't need to do anything separate to experience it. It resides as a part of him, as his Shakti. Outside Krishna, Ananda resides in the form of Sthāyi Bhav or as Bhakti. In both ways, Ananda is present inside Bhagwan, Ananda is present outside Bhagwan. Inside Bhagwan, Ananda is present as Hladini Shakti. Outside Bhagwan, Ananda is present also as a function of Hladini Shakti, as Bhakti. So Ananda is present inside Bhagwan, Ananda is present outside Bhagwan. But outside Bhagwan, very few people know how to experience that Ananda. Param Karuṇā Prabhu, the Anand which Krishna is experiencing, is it not due to Hladini Shakti?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The Anand which the pure devotees are experiencing, is it not due to Hladini Shakti?
Translated into bhakti in their heart, but yes.
Ultimately, there is no other Shakti which can make somebody happy. So the Ananda which Krishna experiences and the Ananda which devotees experience, both Ananda are coming from which Shakti?
Hladini Shakti.
Hladini Shakti. So there is only, actually speaking, there is only one variety of Ananda, that which is generated by Hladini Shakti. But because Shri Krishna is the Vishay and we are the Ashray, therefore we need a process to experience Anand. Shri Krishna doesn't need a process to experience that Anand. In Shri Krishna, it is inherent. And in us, that Ananda has to be inherited by Sthāyi Bhav present within our heart. So that is what is the difference. Then he gives a brilliant example. Param Karuṇā Prabhu, isn't air cool by its nature?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And through the inherent function of flowing, air turns into wind and also makes other people cool. Isn't it true?
Right.
So air is itself cool, and by the inherent function of flowing, air becomes wind and gives a cooling effect to others. Now, water by itself is cool, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
By the inherent function of flowing, it also distributes that cooling effect to others.
Right.
Similarly, Bhagwan is himself Ananda Swarup. And through the function of bhakti, that Ananda in the form of ras is experienced by others. This is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. Lada rupopi yaya samvid utkata rupaya tam ladam samvetti samvedayati cha sah ladini. What is Ladini Shakti? Even though Bhagwan is himself full of bliss, but that aspect of energy by which Bhagwan himself experiences Ananda and makes others experience Ananda through rasa, that Shakti is Hladini Shakti. So the Ananda which Bhagwan is inherently experiencing is Hladini. The Ananda which the Jivas are experiencing due to having a Bhakti Ras is also born out of Hladini. Both are Hladini. In case of Bhagwan, the experience is direct. In case of the Jivas, the experience is separated by one step. What is that one step in between Ras? And then that Ras leads to Ananda. That is the difference. See, the subtleties that he is explaining here are brilliant, actually. And then he says, I will confirm through Chaitanya Charitamritam. And then he confirms by giving Chaitanya Charitamritam. Praman. Sukha Rupa Krishna Kare Sukha Aswadana Bhakta Gana Sukha Dite Ladini Karana. Sukha Rupa Krishna. Param Karuṇā Prabhu, how do you translate Sukha Rupa Krishna?
The fully blissful, self-blissful Krishna himself.
Yes, Krishna is the personification of bliss.
Mhm.
He doesn't need to experience it. He is the personification of bliss. And because he is the personification, what does he do? Sukha asvadan. He inherently enjoys that happiness. But bhakta gane, when it comes to the devotees, sukha dite, in order to give them happiness, ladini karan. Ladini Shakti becomes the cause. And that Ladini Shakti generates ras, ras generates ananda. And that is how the devotees experience joy. So here is the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna tastes all kinds of transcendental happiness, although he is happiness personified. But the pleasure relished by his pure devotees is manifested by his pleasure potency. So this is a very important point. Happiness is inherent in Krishna. Happiness is inherited in the devotees. This is the sum and substance of this particular verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Otherwise, if happiness would be inherent to us, then at all times we should be happy. But this is not the experience of the living entity. Happiness is not overpowering us. If we were Ananda Swarupa, Param Karuṇā Prabhu, if you were Ananda Swarupa, at all points of time, what would you experience?
Completely drowned in bliss.
Yes. But is that your, I pray it will be your regular experience. But currently, is that your regular experience?
I also wish it was, but we're close.
So, we need to have, for us, Ananda is a product. Ananda is not our Swarup. That Chaitanya Charitamrita has explained to us. So, this Ananda, when experienced, and how is it experienced? By Seva of Bhagavan. So, therefore, when experienced by Seva, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, then Purnamrita Swadanam, and then sarvātma-snapanam, it drowns one's body, mind, and senses. And this is what is called sarvātma-snapanam. So, the full cleansing, the full bathing, the full nourishment, not only of the mind, also the senses, also the body, happens through ras. Dear devotees, that is what Sri Kanupriya Goswami has said. Param Karuṇā Prabhu, when a person experiences ras, does the effect of experiencing ras, does the joy show in his mind? Yes or no?
Yes.
Does the joy show in his senses and in his physical body?
Yes, the smiles, or that way, or some tingling or something.
Yeah. And of course, when it overpowers, then you have sattvic vikar. What is sattvic vikar, Param Karuṇā Prabhu? Can you give me some examples of sattvic vikar?
Like, standing of hair, or becoming stunned, or tears.
Discoloration of skin, tears. All these are effects experienced where? On the subtle body or on the gross body?
Gross.
Gross body. So, bhakti ras drowns one's gross body, one's mind, one's senses, and ultimately it drowns the living entity. But drowning here doesn't mean death, because the living entity is makar, swims like a mega shark in the grand ocean of bhakti ras. This, dear devotees, is Ananda, Ambudhi, Vardhanam, Pratipadam, Purnamrita Swadanam, and finally sarvātma-snapanam. Full bathing in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. But simply by my speaking, it will not happen. All of us have to someday experience this bathing. Dear devotees, unless we experience Bhakti Ras in our lives, there is no point of speaking so much. Everything, all this speech, it will attain its true desired result when we experience true genuine Bhakti Ras. When in relationship with Krishna, in our mind, there will be this feeling, Shri Krishna is mine. Shri Krishna is mine. And when that feeling genuinely arises in the heart, not out of peer pressure, not out of social pressure, not out of any artificiality. That particular point of time, when there will be genuine attachment to Shri Krishna, then we will be able to experience this. There's so many things to be sorted out before that. First and foremost, are we comfortable with the persona of Shri Krishna? So many things are not yet sorted out for many of us. Are we comfortable with the personality of Shri Krishna? We know Shri Krishna is Nagar. Nagar means he simultaneously loves many ladies. So, he is Nagar Purush. Can we become comfortable loving a person who simultaneously loves multiple women? So, secondly, are we comfortable with the mood and mannerisms of Shri Krishna? Shri Krishna is portrayed often as Dheer Lalit Nayak. What is Dheer Lalit? Dheer means sober. Every hero has to be sober. A hero cannot be chanchal. Hero cannot be fickle-minded. Shri Krishna is sober, but he is Lalit. Lalit means lover of the arts, romantic, and has no other headaches in life except for, it has no headaches. He has only one business, that is to make love to, various ladies. And this is Shri Krishna's persona. He is the transcendental libertine. And such a persona we have to have our minds attracted to such a person. Therefore, many people say, well, I cannot, I don't find Shri Krishna's personality to be attractive to me. Why? Because how can you love somebody who loves other people as well? How can you love somebody like that? Better is Bhagwan Ram. Because he loved Sita Devi, he has nobody else as his lover. So at least in that ras, and we know we cannot apply. But at least as servants, we are comfortable with the fact that he loves other servants. But this Madhurya ras is difficult to understand. We are not comfortable with the persona of Sri Krishna. Why? Because he is Nagar, he loves so many, and we are one of them. This doesn't sound good. So, many people find it difficult. Sri Rupa Goswami also said about Madhurya ras, Duru Hatva Adayam Rasa. It is very difficult to understand this ras, to become comfortable with this ras, to sort out the loose ends of doubts within one's heart. And only after a person, because we fall in love with a person only when we are fully comfortable with them. Have we become fully comfortable with the persona of Shri Krishna? And if not, then a lot needs to be sorted out. And then, when Bhagwan's mercy descends, at that particular point of time, Shri Krishna will become fully attractive for us. That is when Bhakti Ras will flow. That is when Ananda will be experienced. And that is when sarvātma-snapanam will take place. Dear devotees, this is the entire secret. I'll pause at this particular point of time. Next time, I'll try to see if there's something to add in this. But if there's nothing to add to this, then we will go to the final phrase which remains, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And there's a lot to be discussed in Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. We will see many topics in Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. But for the time being, the commentary of Sri Kanupriya Goswami has concluded on this particular phrase. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yadatra Khalitam Kinchit Vidvam Sahapurayantu Tat Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tad Guru Reva Mene. Yadatra Khalitam Kinchit. If there are any mistakes with Vamsaha, your learned devotees, Purayantu Tat. Please correct any mistakes. But Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. If there's anything nice, please remember. Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Guru Janas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shat Goswami Gan ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for such a wonderful talk, class. So much nectar. Just inspiring nectar. One feels nourished and inspired in hearing your explanation. Thank you so much.
I'll request devotees that next time onwards, many interesting topics are going to begin. And I'm giving a slight preview of what is coming up. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. First and foremost, we will define what is Kirtan, we will define what is Sankirtan. What is Shri Krishna Sankirtan? Then we will take up also a very pertinent topic. Shri Krishna Sankirtan, as it is revealed by our previous acharyas, that we chant prominently Maha Mantra. If it is a mantra, why should it be chanted publicly? Is there any reference of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reverse Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and give it to us? What are the pramanas for chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra publicly? Can we perform Sankirtan of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? All of these topics will come up in the discussion of the phrase Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And we will have a thorough analysis of all these, because there are many opinions. Some opinion says that you should never chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra loudly. You should only chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as a mantra softly for japa. And many of them also go ahead and accuse our Acharya Varga, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. They say that it is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada who started public chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We will see how these things are not true, and how the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra was, that too, Sankirtan of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra was going on since the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All of these topics will be discussed. Dear devotees, many interesting topics are coming up. Not to oppose anybody, but to not Paramata Khandanam, but Swamata Mandanam, in the mood of this, that in order to support our previous acharyas, not to destroy somebody else's Guru Parampara's authenticity, but to support what our acharyas, our Guru Varga has given us. For that purpose, in a mood of goodness, not in a mood of accusation and fighting, but in a mood of goodness, we will discuss all of these aspects of Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
So looking forward to all these sessions. And thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll start with the Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay. So the usual sort of ground rules, I'll just summarize. This entire series that Prabhuji is doing is not affiliated with any person or institution. It's at an informal level. So let's keep the questions in that mood and spirit, and not bring out sort of any loaded aspects that try to pit one institution against another, or a person at a person level either. And so that's one of the main things. Also, we'll go in a round robin fashion. So one question and some related follow-up is fine, and then we'll go in round robin. And yeah, Prabhuji, anything else was there?
If there is a question which is not related to the topic, better better keep it for the group. Or if a question requires some deep digging into some reference, then also better keep it for the group. That's all. We can begin.
Sure. So we'll start with Dorothea Mataji. You can unmute.
Okay, now it works. Hare Krishna, my pranams, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for this wonderful katha. When the topic is rasa or ananda, then obviously then also our hankering for experiencing this ananda is motivating us to actually put the effort also in our sadhana, and not just effort, but also like complete the necessary steps and really take it even more serious than before. Thank you very much. So my question would be, something that I've been wondering about for some time. It's maybe a little bit, yeah, basic, but so I was wondering, why is Krishna always described as the reservoir of rasa and as the source of all charm, etc. But what about Radharani? Because she attracts him, and in that way she is kind of his Vishaya, no? Because, and then ultimately, because she's his Vishaya, then is she not ultimately the ultimate Vishaya? Like, how can we understand this? Thank you.
Shri Krishna is Akhila Rasa Amrita Murti. He is joyous personification of all the rasas, because from him, in relation to Shri Krishna, somebody can experience Shantaras. In relationship to Krishna, somebody can experience Dasya, somebody can experience Sakhya, somebody can experience Vatsalya, somebody can experience Madhurya. But in relation to other devotees, specific rasas are experienced. Can somebody experience Shantaras by keeping Shri Radha as the Vishay? There is no example that we have till now. So from that point of view, from that philosophical point of view, Shri Krishna is said to be the Vishay, or the Murti, the personification of all the rasas. And every individual devotee is Ashray. But when it comes to Ashray, Shri Radha is the complete Ashray, not only of Madhurya Ras, but she is the complete Ashray of all the joy which is experienced in all the rasas. Because she is the personification of Ladini Shakti. So we can say that Krishna contains all the rasas, and Krishna is joy himself, joy personified. But the joy which is personified in the form of Krishna, that joy is Ladini Shakti, and that Ladini Shakti, her actual form is Srimati Radharani. So she is the presiding deity of Ladini Shakti. So Krishna experiences joy because Srimati Radharani, she is the one who is in a non-different form. She makes him experience that joy. So in that way, Sri Radha is in one sense greater than him. But in one sense, since Shri Krishna is the receiver of, he is the Vishay of all sorts of rasa. Therefore, Krishna is called as Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So in that sense, Shri Krishna turns out to be greater. So there are aspects of greatness are present in Shri Krishna, aspects of greatness are present in Shri Radha. In both of them, they are present. But in Shri Krishna, he can become the Vishay of all sorts of rasas. But Shri Radha, there is no, it's not nowhere mentioned that she is the Vishay for all sorts of rasas. So that is the simple difference. I hope that clarifies the doubt.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. I will have to listen to it again, but yes, thank you.
So short and sweet, devotees can experience all sorts of rasas in relationship with Shri Krishna by putting Krishna in the center of the stage. So whenever we have to put that character on the center of the stage. Let's put Krishna on the center of the stage, because rasa is usually experienced in a drama. In the material world, rasa is experienced in a drama. In drama, you need a stage. On the stage, there is a person on the center of the stage. So let's put Krishna on the center of the stage. So can different devotees experience different rasas when Krishna is in the center of the stage? Answer is yes. Because in the arena of Kamsa, different devotees experience different rasas. There is a proof of that. But let's put Shri Radha in the center of the stage. Can different devotees experience different rasas? The answer is obviously no. So therefore, that is the difference. Short and sweet, this is the difference. Right? So, thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, someone is trying to say something?
No, nothing. Next is Samarpan Goprabhu.
Yes. Can you unmute yourself?
I have.
Who is speaking?
Am I audible?
I'm asking him to unmute. Samarpan Ghosh, Gopa Prabhu, can you unmute? Probably we'll come back to him, Prabhuji. Is someone else unmuted? Okay. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah. I can hear.
Okay. Something's going on with him.
All right.
Okay,
So we'll come back to him.
Yeah.
We'll come back. Next is Premanand Prabhu. Let's unmute him.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. I have again questions about Vishaya and Ashraya because it's a little bit confusing topic for me because I thought the words are changing interchangeably sometimes, because here you said that Krishna is the Vishaya and we are all Ashraya. But there are also places where Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna is the only Ashraya Tattva. For example, if you look at CC 20-151 purport, where it says that Sri Krishna is the only Ashraya Tattva. So I'm confused. I mean, why is it sometimes referred to as Ashraya and sometimes as Vishaya?
No. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 tattvas. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantaresha nukatha nirodho muktir ashraya. Those 10 tattvas of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate shelter is Shri Krishna. But when it comes to ras, a discussion of ras, bhakti ras, Shri Krishna becomes the Vishay and the devotees become the Ashray. So the term Ashray is used in two different contexts. One context is the context of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Ashray is one of the 10 topics of Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
So when Ashray becomes one of the 10 topics of Bhagavatam, in that sense Krishna is Ashray. But when we are speaking in the context of Bhakti Ras, Krishna is Vishay, devotees are generally considered as Ashray. So that is
okay.
All right.
So
I hope that
it's
clarifies.
So it's from the point of view of Bhakti Ras, it's the Vishaya. But in general, it's Ashraya.
Yeah, because Shri Krishna usually doesn't execute bhakti. He is the receiver of bhakti. He is the savior Bhagavan, and others are sevaka, others are servants. Of course, roles are reversed when he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He becomes the sevak. But as Krishna, he is the savior. He is the one who receives the seva. The one who receives the seva, the person who becomes the center of the stage, that person becomes the Vishay. All others become the Ashray. That is the. Right?
Thank you.
Next, we are going to go to Harshil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam.
The
The lecture was really beautiful. You really inspired to now at least chant attentively, and you theoretically gave the knowledge of like how ecstasy feels like, or rasa. So my question is like, as you mentioned, to get the Naam manifest in our heart, it depends on Bhagwan's mercy. So what devotional activities we can do so we can get the mercy more faster?
So the question is, what devotional activities can we do in order to get Bhagwan's mercy faster? I wish Bhagwan's mercy could be distilled into a formula. Then I would have told you. Oh, no, not me. Previous acharyas would have told you, because they would have found it out before me. I am very late. I am in 2024. But they would have told you thousands of years ago, this is the formula for attracting Krishna's mercy. Let's say if I ask you, what is the formula for pleasing Harshil Prabhu? So you will say, there's no one fixed formula. There are many things which please me. No, one thing which will please you. And everybody should do that one thing. And then you will be pleased. No, I'm a person. You can't please me in this impersonal way. I cannot be mass pleased by executing a formula. I'm a person. So if two people do the same thing, I may be pleased with one of them and I may not be pleased with the second one. That's because I'm a person. That is also the case with Bhagwan. So mass reproduction of a particular set of behavior cannot ensure that all of them will end up getting Bhagwan's mercy. There are still devotees who have tried their best. to try to find if there is something. So this reminds me of the devotee poet Sri Suri. He, at one point of time, tried to distill Bhagwan's mercy into a single aspect. What is it that can give Bhagwan's mercy? And he was discussing Ras Panchadhyayi, the 5 chapters of Rasa. And then the gopis, they sing the best song in the entire universe, Gopi Geet. And Bhagwan is still not pleased. Bhagwan still doesn't give his mercy. See, the gopis sang the best song in the universe. And the gopis are willing to, they sang the best song in the universe and they are willing to give themselves to Krishna, give their body to Sri Krishna, give their good name to Sri Krishna. Because once they associate with Parapurush, a person who is not their husband, their names will be washed out, their good names will be washed out from society. Nobody will ever remember them. And they are prepared to make that sacrifice. And they sing the best song of love. In that song of love, they say, Krishna, you place your foot on our chest. That is what they say in that song of love. Krishna, you put your feet on the place where it is supposed to be put. And even after hearing this song, our ungrateful Bhagwan doesn't become happy. Isn't he? That is what such a Bhagwan should be called. And then finally, the gopis gather together at the banks of the Yamuna and they start crying. And after crying, he becomes happy. And what sort of a sadistic Bhagwan are you that you waited for them to cry? But, there is no fixed formula. At that point of time, Sri Suri says something. Artaswara prabhudayodaya kridyatha syad stutyarchanadi vividharja vitana tadrik spashtam yadatra nutigiti kritopi gopi prito babhuva sadayorudati ravekshya. The devotees, Artaswara, the mercy of the Lord that can be invoked by Artaswara, crying out loudly, that mercy cannot be invoked by any other process. You can take glorification, crying or offering various items, etc. But crying out has a much better chance of invoking his mercy. This fact was clearly established when the best devotees in the universe, Arshil Prabhu, will you please tell me who are the best devotees according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, who are the best devotees in the entire universe? Can you please tell me who are the best devotees in the entire universe?
Oh, I have no idea, but I will try to guess. Mahaprabhu can be saved.
In the Bhagavatam, who is the best devotee?
Bhagavatam.
Yeah. The gopis of Vrindavan are the best devotees. They sang, but Bhagwan did not appear. Finally, he appeared only after they did something. What did they do? What did they do? Right. So that is what we are supposed to do. Only after crying for Bhagwan, there is a good possibility that Bhagwan will appear. Right. So this is what it is.
Right. So, Prabhu, I have one follow-up question. Does desiring for prema, does that also come under sense gratification?
No. Somebody has misinformed you. Desiring prema is param swartha gati. It is the highest form of selfishness that is required for the living entity. Everybody should desire prema. Otherwise, why are we living? I don't know that sometimes I also hear desiring bhakti, desiring prema is also selfishness. We should become completely selfless. If I stop desiring prema, then I'm going against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema pumartho mahan is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion that prema is the ultimate attainment. If I stop desiring prema, I'll become a blob of impersonal mass who doesn't desire anything. And I don't want to become that. I desire prema. Of course I desire prema. So this is, please don't fall to these opinions. Please stick only to the opinions, authentic opinions given by previous acharyas and shastra. So that is what can be said. Right? Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will try again to go to Yes Samarpan Gopa Prabhu.
The yes means your aspiring servant. That is the acronym.
Oh, Samarpan Gopa Prabhu. Can you?
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yeah. You're slightly audible now. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Worship Prabhu. It was very enlightening to hear this description, and I have missed the previous classes. However, it was very nourishing to hear the description of the bathing given by these two acharyas, Kanupriya Goswami and Radha.
Shri Radha Govindanath.
But all glories.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shri Radha Govindanath.
Yeah, he's easy for us to remember his name because he has similar name to my Diksha Guru. Shri Radha Govindanath. Yes.
Yes, and so many verses of Bhagavatam which they are quoting, which came to my mind of Chatushloki, third verse also.
Right.
Pravishta, Pravishta, Attam Teshu Te Mayi, and example of air which Kapil Dev gives in the 29th chapter of Shiksha, that bhakti is so easy, just as a fragrance reaches from flower to the nose. So such profound description and experience. Many questions came through, just one I can express, and one got clear about Ashraya and Vishay, which Prabhu asked. So these two different contexts are there, Bhagavatam and Rasa. So the question about this is description of a stage of beyond Bhava. Is it true? Because Rasa is experienced after that only. No? Before that it is all not Rasa in that true sense. Because it's a combination of five things.
Yeah. So Bhava is the preliminary stage where Rasa has not yet reached its full nourishment, but Bhav also starts giving its effects. But when Bhav reaches complete nourishment, then that is when it becomes Ras. Now, everybody in the world cannot experience Ras. Rupa Goswami has given a verse which may put many of us in some depression. Who can experience Ras? This question arises because Ras, as you said correctly, Ras requires that Sthai Bhav should be nourished. It's not a combination. Combination is a different thing. Here it is nourishment of Sthai Bhav by the other four factors. It's not just a random combination of five factors. It's the nourishment of one factor by the remaining four factors. So that is what basically Ras is. But experience of Bhakti Ras doesn't happen for everyone. Why doesn't it happen for everyone? So Srila Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and this is something which is very important for us to understand, and I will try to quote this verse where Sri Rupa Goswami says, Praktanyaduniki chasti yasya sad bhakti vasana esha bhakti rasasvadas tasyaiva hridi jayate. And this is in the, I think it's in the second division, Dakshin Vibhag, and here, 2.1.6. I will share my screen and everybody can have a look. This is Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Southern Division, 1.6. Praktani aduniki cha asti yasya sad bhakti vasana esha bhakti rasasvadas tasyaiva hridi jayate. Praktani means, Jiva Goswami says, prag janma jata praktani. From previous lives, if somebody has cultivated how to experience bhakti ras. Adhuniki cha. And in this life also they have cultivated. What have they cultivated? Sad bhakti vasana. Culture of proper devotion. Then esha bhakti rasasvadas. Then this experience of bhakti tasya eva hridi jayate. Happens only in the heart of such a person. It requires previous merit. And it requires merit in this life. So Samarpan Go Prabhu, how do the chances of most individuals look? Do they look bright or they look dim? How do they look?
Yeah, they look dim for me also. When I read this verse earlier, I was also very much pleasantly astonished that it is very rare.
It is very rare. Sri Jiv Goswami gives us a ray of hope. The ray of hope is, he says, this is the phrase, small phrase. Idam api prayikam. In most cases it is like this, but there can be some exceptions. Some exceptions, which means in this life itself they can make it. So this principle is prayikam. This is the usual scenario. But in some scenarios, in this life also, it can happen. Single life, it can take place. So, but usually it requires bhakti samskars from previous lives and bhakti samskars in this life to be able to experience bhakti ras. So, in this case of, like you were saying, bhakti ras, it can only be experienced in previous life. If somebody might have come to the stage of bhav, this life they can experience. You can say that as a general rule. In the previous life, they have come to the point of bhav. This life, they can nourish it and turn it into ras. The previous life, they have not reached that stage. It is difficult. Jiva Goswami has given us hope. It is not impossible. Jiva Goswami says, prayikam, it is difficult. But in this life, if they have very strong association, then it may happen. So that is the difference between bhav and ras.
Yes. Yes, bro, it is clear. Just follow up this means what is the experience of other, like you explained, and what is that?
Rudy, your audio is breaking. Can you try turning off your video?
Yes, bro, sure.
Okay, let's start.
Yeah. So what I'm saying that, yeah. So the highest rasa is given by Mahaprabhu. What is that? Not which was not given before that was. No? So the
Yeah, anarpita
most
chari
ripened.
virat.
So what is being Karuṇā avatirna khalo? Samarpan unnata ujjvala rasa. Unnata is that highest peak of that. So what is being experienced by the other practitioners of bhakti of other sampradayas, and what is experienced by a sadhaka till he reaches nishtha, bhava, ruchi. It is also an experience of happiness, but it is not rasa. Is it? So what is experienced by them? What is experienced by Brahmananda? That also is experience of joy, right? So I was
Yeah, but
just
those are
technically reflecting on these points. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Those are experiences of if they reach the highest point, they're experiences of Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sambram Sakhyaras. Those are till that point, 2.5, as it is said by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhu. 2.5. The Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sambram Sakhya, not Vishramba Sakhya. But the experience of Vrajarasa, experience of Vishramba Sakhya, the experience of Shuddha Vatsalya without any tinge of Aishwarya, the experience of Madhurya, which is only available in Vraja, the fullest sweetness of Madhurya, which is available in Vraja. Because in Vraja only Bhagavan is Nagar. Nagar means he has Parakiya ras. So that experience of that is only possible when somebody develops Vraja Bhakti. But Vraja Bhakti, there are many sampradayas who are teaching Vraja Bhakti. In those sampradayas, there are many moods given, but the mood of worship which was adopted by Sri Radha and the gopis, that mood, especially the mood of the gopis, was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first. So that is the meaning of that verse, particular verse. And it was given after long time. Because previous to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was present in very few individuals such as Sri Madhavendra Puri, Sri Ishwar Puri, but it was not being distributed. Those who had it were not willing to distribute it. Only Bhagavan came and distributed it in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now many other sampradayas may have adapted it, but distribution of that, and or to say formalization of that through the writing of literature, happened only through the agency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and 6 Goswamis first. Because the 6 Goswamis were the first ones to write in detail about Madhurya Ras. Do you have any textbook of Madhurya Ras previous to Sri Rupa Goswami? Please tell me.
Yeah, at least I have not heard.
Yeah. You
It was written.
So there was no textbook that we have. Sri Rupa Goswami wrote slightly in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and he wrote in great detail in the supplementary book Shri Ujjwal Nilmani about Unnat Ujjwal Ras. Before that, there was no major description of this Ras. So that is because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that did not happen before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the answer to your query.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll go to Mohit Deshmukh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So basically, I have to reconfirm the concept which I have understood, that is Shri Krishna is personified Ananda or Rasa, personified Rasa, Rasa personified. So that Rasa is itself Ladini Shakti, right? Like that
Ananda.
Rasa is itself.
No, Ananda. Rasa generates Ananda, and Ananda is Ladini Shakti. Ananda is nothing but a manifestation of Ladini potency. But in Krishna doesn't need to have Vibhav, Anubhav, Satvik Bhav, Vyabhichari Bhav in order to produce Rasa, and through Rasa he experiences Ananda. Krishna is Ananda personified. I'll give you a very simple example of this. Another meaning of Rasa is juice. Literally, if you understand, meaning of Rasa is juice. If a person is tired and unhappy, you give him juice, and after drinking juice, he becomes happy. That is what you can say.
Yes.
But Krishna is juice personified. Can juice ever become unhappy? So that the answer no, because happiness is internalized in the character of Shri Krishna. So I hope so that way you can understand.
So basically, that inherent happiness is itself Ladini Shakti.
Of course.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Next.
Next, we will go to Yadupati Hari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. Extremely grateful. So I have this question, like when you are explaining Vishaya and Ashraya in Bhakti Rasa. So what about the Guru Prabhu? So the Guru should never be Vishaya, right Guru? Because or it can be, because if we see yes.
Guru is sevak of Bhagwan. Guru is servant of Bhagwan. So we have dasya bhav towards Guru. We have dasya bhav, but much more than that, we are supposed to have inclination towards Shri Krishna. Our final prayojan is to have love of Shri Krishna. So we have dasya bhav towards Guru, but ultimately our main attraction is supposed to be towards Shri Krishna. Because Shri Krishna is the perfect entity who can reciprocate with all of us perfectly. He knows what is in our heart all the time. Guru often individual gurus belong to the category of Jiva Tattva. Alright, so you can't really have an exchange of Bhakti Ras with somebody who's in the category of Jiva Tattva. Although you can have the bhav of being a servant of that person. But exchange of Bhakti Ras has to happen with somebody who is Vibhu. Vibhu means all powerful, who understands your heart from all angles, and who is Shri Krishna himself. So the main attraction is supposed to be towards Shri Krishna. So that is what is the de facto position. Guru, we are supposed to have Dasya Bhav, and towards Shri Krishna we are supposed to have Bhakti Ras. So that is what is the answer to your query.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, next we'll go to one Sakhi Sharan Prabhu. He messaged me that he is not able to raise his hand, but he messaged me long back. So I'll unmute him or her.
Right. Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Actually, it was a brilliant class, but I think a lot to assimilate and digest. Still not able to fully comprehend entirety. Probably it would be good later if you explain in more detail about all these aspects. But the query will go with your your slide which you presented on the Shruti Praman, that is the Taittiriya Upanishad, which says Raso Vaisaha, right? And this is from the Shruti side, it is being described. And the Vedic perspective gives only this part, or there are more references of this rasa aspect in which the jiva has? Because it looks here like the Veda has also allowed everybody to participate and come till some aspect, but it's also hidden these great truths about the actual rasas, which is actually been revealed by our Goswamis or given by Chaitanya Babu. Absolutely hidden. I doubt anybody even knows about this much from the other sampradayas or other Advaita school or anybody else, apart from little that we know from Rup Goswami or what we are hearing from you. It's an oceanic depth. So are the pramanas? That's number one. And can we also later on, probably, this verse is really heavy, where you have spoken about sarvātma-snapanam. Snapanam also, if I understand, it's like the ceremonial bathing through mantras and water. So could you throw your light on this, Prabhu?
All right. So let me understand your query. You're saying that Shruti mentions that Raso Vaisa, Bhagwan is Rasa. But why is it so rarely explained in other sampradayas as it is explained in detail in our sampradaya? That is your first query? Yes? Okay. Okay. So,
yeah,
the Sri Rupa Goswami was a devout follower of Bharat Muni. Bharat Muni is the personality whom Bhagwan chose to bring the concept of ras in this world. So Bharat Muni was the personality gifted with ras. It is described in Bharat Muni's literature, Natya Shastram. There is one literature which is the magnum opus of Bharat Muni, and that's the only literature which is available, Natya Shastram.
Right.
And from that we have Bharat Natyam. Bharat Natyam we might have heard because Bharat Muni and Natya Shastram.
Right.
So in that literature it is described that in the beginning of Treta Yuga, the Devatas started noticing that people had developed many negative qualities, anger, lust, greed, etc. And the path of studying the Vedas and understanding the 4 Vedas and learning the truth was no longer easy for them. So they went to Brahma, Sri Brahma, and Sri Brahma told them a 5th Veda is needed now. And this 5th Veda will be Natya Veda. Natya means drama, dramatic part. So a 5th Veda will be needed. You must go to Bharat Muni and learn, because I have given him this 5th Veda. Go and learn from Bharat Muni. And then the Devatas learned this 5th Veda, and the difference between the 4 Vedas and this 5th Veda, this 5th Veda is called Sarva-Varnik. All Varnas, all ashramas, all the way up to the dog eater have access to the 5th Veda, Sarva-Varnik, 5th Veda. In this 5th Veda, drama, it is a very effective means of communicating the principles of rasa, and rasa deeply connects. It deeply touches a person, and it gives them that level of joy that the previous Acharya said, Brahmananda Sahodara. It is the elder brother of Brahmananda. It is the elder, rasa is the elder brother of the joy of impersonal Brahman. So, and they're speaking about rasa in material world. They're not even speaking about bhakti ras. Rasa of the material world is the elder brother of Brahmananda. So, when this is the glory of rasa, and nobody had taken up rasa sadhana, a process of sadhana which involves rasa, Sri Rupa Goswami was perhaps the first one to take up rasa sadhana as a means of achieving transcendence. And that glory goes to Sri Rupa Goswami and to the personality who instructed him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Sri Rupa Goswami's inclination towards rasa is evident even before meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but after meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the whole theology of bhakti ras became fully manifest within his heart. And that's how he became the first personality who gave a detailed process of attaining transcendence through rasa sadhana. So let's say that our process is actually rasa sadhana. It's many people say it is japa sadhana. It is, you know, actually it is rasa sadhana.
Nice.
So our
Yeah.
process actually is to experience bhakti ras through 64 limbs of bhakti. So that is actually our sadhana. We are actually rasa sadhana. We are candidates for rasa sadhana. But that rasa sadhana requires some training from previous lives and some training in this life. Or in this life also it requires intense training, because it is a culture of experiencing rasa. Just, you know,
Right.
otherwise you become like a painting on the wall when the pastimes are being spoken. So
Right.
that should not happen. And for that reason, intense training is required, and therefore like-minded devotees should get together, and then the culture of experiencing bhakti ras should take place, and then in that satam prasanga and mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasa ayana katha tajoshanada shvavargya vartvani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. In the third canto, Kapil Muni says, get together with rasik devotees and hear what they are trying to say, and then gradually this ras rubs onto your heart. Once it rubs onto your heart, then you will also need to have the expertise to produce the same effect in solitude. In association, it is good. Can you produce the same effect in solitude? So that culture of producing ras in solitude needs to be there. And when somebody is expert, they are known as rasik. And the Bhagavatam was written for rasik. Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So that is the people who are thoroughly trained in this rasa shastra. For them, the Srimad Bhagavatam was written. So that is this. The credit goes to Sri Rupa Goswami for tapping the most important aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is ras, and for creating an entire system of transcendence around ras. And that credit goes solely to Sri Rupa Goswami by the mercy of Chaitanya. All right.
Brilliant, brilliant answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The second part, which you said, there's no mention of this rasa quote in any other Shruti Praman, just like we quoted here.
Rasa is mentioned in Taittiriya Upanishad, and in the sense in which it is mentioned is the same sense that, you know, we are taking. In other places in the Vedas, there may be mention of rasa, but it may be in that meaning may be water, because one meaning of ras is also water. One meaning is taste. In Bhagavad Gita, rasoham apsu kaunteya. There are many instances of the term ras you will find, but we want to find the instance which is in the context of Bharat Muni, and that is in Taittiriya Upanishad. That is
because you have even quoted, sorry, last point, you had even quoted that I think somebody has done Mantra Bhagavat, right?
Yeah.
And he's taken those verses into Krishna's pastimes and the Vrindavan pastimes. So there also there's a mention of rasa.
Yeah, he's that personality, Nilkant Chaturdhar.
Nilkant.
Yeah, he gave interpretations of hymns of Rig Veda which depict Krishna Lila. So he just interpreted hymns of Rig Veda to give Krishna Lila, and it's very creative interpretations. But Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Parokshvado Vedoyam. Vedas have many hidden meanings. So what Sri Nilkant Chaturdhar has done is perfect, because actually Veda is sarvai rahameva vedyo. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known. And Sri Nilkant Chaturdhar said, well, I will show you how through all the Vedas Bhagavan is to be known. And he just interpreted the Rig Veda verses in such a way that Govardhan Leela is going on. All those Leelas are going. I feel a connection with him, because he's just 100 kilometers from my village. His village is. So it's Nilkant Chaturdhar. It's the same state of Maharashtra. He's and he's the most popular commentator on the entire 1 lakh verses of Mahabharata. So very prominent personality in history. And he's quoted by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamritam commentary. So Nilkant Chaturdhar, he didn't give on rasa. His interpretation is not centered around rasa, but he's interpreting the Rig Veda hymns to show direct presence of Krishna Lila in those hymns. So that is the answer to the question.
Thank you. Right? Thank you, brilliant. Kind of.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, just if I may inject a follow-up or question here from my side. So like the Srimad Bhagavatam is, like you mentioned, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam.
Right.
But it also depends, like you very much said, rasika bhuvi bhavikaha. So the narrator and also needs to be, I mean, Bhagavatam is itself very sweet, is rasik.
Right.
Samala, like you have said, and I fully agree. The way it is presented churns the heart or melts
Right.
the heart.
Right.
It is totally possible
Right.
to just speak it in a way where it appears very dry.
Right.
So, but when someone like me who has no knowledge of any Ras Shastra hears from such Rasik, in some cases, I mean, I can feel that, wow, I mean, this was such a, even after 2 hours after the class, the mind keeps thinking and relishing what was heard. So my question is, for the composer and for the one who is narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam, or someone who is composing verses in that mood, this whole understanding is very important. Totally get that. But for somebody who is hearing, also it would be greatly helpful for sure, like a person who understands music very well will probably relish an orchestra much more than an audience who goes and sits but still also relishes.
Right.
Again, this is not about who is not inattentive, and, like you said, a painting on the wall. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. Even if they're attentive, but
Even
they
if
should
they're
have
into it. Yeah. Could you a little bit distinguish difference in the experience that one gets between knowing Ras Shastra versus not knowing, from the hearer's perspective of the Shrota Kavya, of that which is heard, and I'm not talking about that which is seen, Drishya.
I'll begin with a very simple example. Let's say you go to a fine arts class. In a fine arts class, the teacher is teaching how to draw fine arts, and the teacher is a connoisseur of fine arts. And then the teacher draws a painting, and then in the painting is the painting of an ordinary dog. It's just and then you look at the painting and you say, but I'm not moved by the painting. And then the teacher says, I have made this painting for a person whose dog died recently. When that person will look at this painting, then something will be stirred in their heart. I hope you're able to understand. And so that expressions of art, they appeal to people who are like-minded, like-hearted, and are cultured in that particular art. Unless we are cultured in that particular art, we cannot have that aesthetic experience, which is expected within any form of even material art. When it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, the aesthetic experience is of the highest variety and transcendental. And therefore, certainly training is expected, a culture is expected of not only the speaker being fully versed with that culture, but also the listener being fully versed with that culture. And when these two people come together and when they sit in one place, the one person becomes the speaker, one becomes the listener, the speaker speaks such nice katha, and the listener starts relishing it, and not only relishing it, adding to it. So that's why you see in the forest of Naimisharanya, the sages are not tired, they're in fact adding questions to it. They never say, oh, enough about this, just let's switch the topic. The sages keep adding to the queries, and they wish as if it would never end. So that culture is expected even from somebody who is sitting in class, not only for somebody who's speaking the class. Although if the person who's speaking the class has immense ability, they can forcibly inject some sensation of rus into the heart of a listener who is not cultured. But ideally, the listener should also train themselves up and have a culture of experiencing rasa. And therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami made a very important point. It is a practice which requires time. Sri Rupa Goswami said his opinion is that it requires lifetimes. But Sri Goswami makes a concession and says, in this life also it can happen. But in this life also, if it has to happen, the training should be intense. Because so much Krishna Lila is being spoken, we're just sitting in the class, we should not stay as paintings on the wall. we should spend our times working very hard to understand the culture of experience of rasa. Otherwise, we are not really performing rasa sadhana. Otherwise, we are expecting that we'll do Vaidhi Bhakti, and one fine day Vaidhi Bhakti will lead to Bhav, and then that Bhav will be of which variety? It will be mixed with Aishwarya. And then because when as a result of Vaidhi Bhakti, if Bhagwan comes in front of us, we'll be, oh my goodness, Bhagwan, you're finally here. Oh Supreme Personality of Godhead, accept me. And Bhagwan said, Tathastu, yeah, you are accepted. Chalo. Now, if that is the mode in which we want to be accepted, then that we are executing Vaidhi Bhakti. Much higher is the person who has prepared himself, prepared his mood in relationship with Bhagwan. And then when Bhagwan appears, they don't fold their hands and say, oh Bhagwan, you are finally here. No, they relate to him as Sakha, as their son, as their lover. And then that is the mood with which Bhagwan reciprocates. So we should understand that concept if we want to achieve the desired success on the path that Sri Rupa Goswami has shown. Right, so that's a detailed answer.
Guruji, can I just press a little bit more? So this...
Yeah. I hope the others are not becoming restless. I'm giving detailed answers.
There's also this example given of Chand and Chakor.
Chandra and Chakor, yeah.
Chandra and Chakor.
Yeah.
And if I didn't misunderstand it, the understanding is that the Chakor is just a bird, with very less intelligence, cannot really, distinguish the fine beauty of the moon and all, but is still like one of the best connoisseurs of the moon.
Right.
Understanding it correctly, that without much understanding, it, still the Chakor is able to relish. Does that have sort of, I hope you get my question, like, how do we explain or...
Okay,
yeah.
So you have mentioned a particular bird, it is called Chakor. But Chakor, those of us who don't understand what is Chakor, so I will give the English meaning of Chakor. So the English meaning of Chakor is the quail, Quail, quail bird. Right, so the quail bird, it is said Chakor, it is a great rasik of the rays of the moon. That is what it is. Although, but it doesn't have any formal training. But it is a great, it survives on the moon rays. But this is because it is inherent within that quail bird, inherent within that Chakor. Similarly, somebody who does not have much knowledge of the Bhagavatam, but suddenly becomes deeply affected by description of Krishna Lila, so it must be coming from previous lives. I hope you are able to understand. It must be coming from, it cannot just be chance that, it is coming from previous life. Just as when Mozart sat in front of the piano, he just started playing at the age of 5 years. If you give me piano at 5 years, I will make a big mess out of it because I'm not trained from previous lives. But Mozart, when he sat in front of the piano, he was supremely talented. So why? Because purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate yavashopi sa. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says purvabhyasena te, very important praman, which is applicable also in the domain of experiencing ras. I will quote this praman. This is 644 of Bhagavad Gita, and I'll read Prabhupada's translation. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate yavashopi sa jigyasarupi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. By the virtue of divine consciousness of previous life, he helplessly, avasha, the literal translation is helplessly becomes attracted to yogic principles even without seeking them. So this is what is mentioned by Bhagwan himself. So when Sri Rupa Goswami says previous life training is needed, he is making a very correct point. But Sri Jiva Goswami says in good association you can develop it in this. We should not be hopeless about it. Not everybody of us can become Mozart, but every one of us can become accomplished piano players by training in one life. And so similarly, not everybody can become like Rupa Goswami, he's a Nitya Siddha. But by training in this life, we can achieve the point where we are able to nourish the bhakti ras within our heart. That is all that is required. As soon as you hit that point, that you're able to nourish bhakti ras within your heart, the considerations will be dropped, whether it come from previous life or this life. Yena kena prakarana, somehow or other, learn the art and develop the culture of experiencing bhakti ras. Rasa sadhana is the sadhana. Right? So that is the answer to your query.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We will go to Sham Gauri Mapari Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. My question is, what it really means to cry for Krishna, or and what do we think when we are chanting? Like, do we think about the glories of holy name, or the effects of the holy name we are having after chanting, or the like importance of the process, or what aspects, or just listen to the chanting?
Okay.
And crying for Krishna really means like we are crying, or like when we stand in front of Krishna, despite of surrounding and atmosphere we are having, like in temple, outside the temple, or in whatever places we are, we can like
I understood the query, Mataji. I understood the query. I'll try to reply. What is the meaning of crying? How do we cry for Krishna? Your first query, how do we cry? So this query, a mother doesn't ask how does she cry for her child. That question is not asked by a mother. You don't learn the art of, you cry when you have it in you. So how do I cry for my child? How do I cry for my lover? You don't learn that. There's no academy to teach how to cry for a child or how to cry for a lover. Either you have it or you don't. So that is what it is. And if we don't have it, then we should associate with a sadhu who has it, and then by some of their mood may rub on to us. And there are no mechanical tips or tricks to cry for Krishna. If there would be, the acharyas would have written it, and the acharyas have not written it, which shows that there is no mechanical way to cry for Krishna. So, that being said, what is the mood with which we chant? What should be in our mind? So, there was another series done, Upadeshamritam. In the 7th and 8th verse of the Upadeshamritam series, a lot of this was discussed in detail, which I cannot possibly summarize here. What is the mood with which we should chant? Then it was specified what is Vaidhi Bhakti, what is Rag Bhakti, what is the mood of a devotee as Rag Bhakti. So all of that is a big discussion around it. So Mataji, I'll request one thing, that to get a complete answer of this, you'll have to listen to the Upadeshamritam series. But first 6 verses are related to something else. 7th verse onwards, the real juice starts, where Bhagwan's Naam comes up. So, but I would suggest you go in sequence. But if you want immediate answers, you can start listening from the 7th verse explanation, which is there on the same channel, YouTube. You can find it. Hari Parshad Das. So that is the answer to your query in short.
Okay. Anything, is that okay?
Prabhu? Yeah, I got it. And the second question was, what do we think when we are chanting? Or like we are meditating on the glories, or we are
Yeah,
listening?
so all of that, what is in the mind when one should be doing japa, from Prabhupada's conversations from the previous acharyas, there was a big verse, mano madhye sthito mantro, what should be situated in the mind? Mantra madhye sthitam manaha. So the mantra should be situated in the mind. How to situate the mantra in the mind, and how to do mantra artha chintanam. All of those things were covered in those verses, Mataji. But that is it is not just a one tip or trick, just fit this in your mind. No, there's a big culture around it. How to train your mind in order to listen to the mantra. Those who have done that practice, done that sadhana, they will understand. I cannot give it's not like instant coffee that I give one tip or trick and then you will have it. So you'll have to take some time, Mataji. Some dedicated quality time has to be given to it. So I am giving a pointer. You can listen to the Upadeshamritam series. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. And it lead to like crying in Krishna in public or in separation also. Like, will it give the like sahajiya bhav, or it's proper crying is authorized?
Sahajiya is a
I
heavily
mean,
misused term. Sahajiya is a heavily misused term. There is an original meaning of the term Sahajiya. And that also, the meaning is Prakrit Sahajiya, somebody who imitates pastimes of Radha and Krishna. That is Sahajiya. Crying in public, the actual term, if somebody is crying for making a show, the actual term is not Sahajiya. The actual term is Adambar, making a show in front of everybody. So that is the actual term, Adambar. So if somebody is crying for making a show, that is definitely not recommended. But sometimes the emotions of a person overpower them and they are helpless, that even though they are in public, they may cry. So that case is different. And somebody who wants to impress the public, that case is different. One time, Srila Prabhupada also during a class started crying after he was singing this song, Param Karuṇā Pahu Duijana. Prabhupada started crying. That was not for making a, and this was in Atlanta. In the Atlanta temple, Prabhupada started crying. So that was not for making a show, but he could not, the emotions overpowered him. That is when Prabhupada started crying. So that is different, and Adambar, making a show, is different. All right?
Thank you.
yes, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And
Next, we will go to Gauranitai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. It's really deep explanations which you give and so inspiring. My question is related to the same topic, the crying, which is, you mentioned, that absolutely necessary for getting Krishna's full attention and convince him to give himself to us if he asks for it. And but also you mentioned that the sadhana or the practice for developing that qualities is a like-minded devotees association. And I understand that these feelings are sometimes coming and sometimes decreasing. So after such a association, it's increasing because we feel the nourishment of mood. But what to do between two associations if you feel it's decreasing or slipping out? How to keep it? How to save it until new association you get?
All right. So when we associate with sadhus, there is a natural tendency to cry out within the heart for Bhagavan. But when that association is lost, that effect is also lost. So there was a sadhu, Fakir Mohan Prabhu, he used to tell, he told me once, that sadhu is like a Vaidya, he is like a physician, and he comes and gives you some medicine, and the medicine has effect for some time, and then the effect is gradually lost until you meet him again. Best is to learn how to produce the medicine in your home, and best is to learn how to have that experience when you're alone, and that requires training in medicinal science, and that training is intense. So, but that time is worth investing, because once you become a physician yourself, you can make your own drugs, you can make your own medicine, and then you can have all that effect even when you are by yourself. So this is the same point that I was highlighting. The sadhus already have a culture of bhakti ras, and we should also spend our time developing that culture. And whatever time we spend in it is time well spent, because the sadhus have spent that time previously in their lives or in previous lives, but we are yet to spend that time. So we should spend our time in developing that culture and learning from the sadhus how an experience of bhakti ras happens. And then once we learn from the authentic process, and then we go through Krishna Lila with a framework in our mind that I am hearing Krishna Lila in order to experience bhakti ras, then our hearing of Krishna Lila will be different. We will not simply hear as as an ordinary narration. It's very important. There is a literature, it's called Bhakti Rasayanam, the literature which I quoted, Bhakti Rasayanam, Sri Harisuri. Now, Rasayanam is a different term. Rasayanam means an Ayurvedic medicine. What is the purpose of an Ayurvedic medicine? That a person who has lost his taste, you give him an Ayurvedic medicine, he regains that taste. So, similarly, somebody who cannot experience ras, they go through this literature, Bhakti Rasayanam, you learn the art of relishing Bhakti Ras. So I found it to be a very good help in my own sadhana. And on top of that, Sri Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam, these are very pertinent literature to learn the art and culture of developing Bhakti Ras. And also Srila Jiva Goswami's Priti Sandarbh. It's very important to understand the principles given in Priti Sandarbh in order to know Bhakti Sandarbh and Priti Sandarbh. Very important to understand in great detail as to how Bhakti, what is the culture of Bhakti Ras. That is the answer to your query. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we have a few questions on the chat, Prabhuji, and then we have Dorothea Mataji and Mohit Prabhu, who are coming back again for their second question. What would you like to do?
If I think we can take one query from the chat and then go to the live questions.
Okay, you want me to read it out, or?
Yeah, sure.
Or yeah, couple of them are very long, but I'll just read it out. I haven't scanned it and kind of
if there is a short question there,
yeah, this question Atma reference given as Deha, Chitta, and Buddhi, body, mind. I don't understand what the question there is. Okay, next one is why it's always Gopis reference. How about Gopas or male versions? And then in spiritual world, there is nothing like male, female.
Who said there is nothing like male, female? The name Gopa and Gopi is itself male and female. Well, what are you saying? There is no male and female. I don't know where people learn these concepts. There is no. If you are absorbed in the Brahmajyoti, there is no male and female. Perhaps that is where you are speaking. In the spiritual world, there is male and female bodies are given. We discussed from Vedanta Sutra some lectures back. In the spiritual world, there are two types of mukti. One is without body and one is with the body. And a reference from Vedanta Sutra was given. If a body is given, a gender will be attached to the body by default. A gender will be attached to the body, even in the spiritual world. Masculine gender, masculine ego. Feminine gender, feminine ego. So in the spiritual world also, there are some living entities who have masculine ego. But when we hear absolutist statements that Krishna is the only male, everybody else is female, we confuse such statements. Krishna is the only enjoyer, rest are enjoyed, even if they are in male body. So this doesn't mean that there are no male bodies in the spiritual world except for Krishna. There are so many male bodies, Sridham, Sudam, Nanda Maharaj, Upananda, all of them are in masculine body. Arjun. So they are masculine and feminine bodies. This question is born out of Tattva Brahm, misunderstanding of the Tattva. So we'll let it go. Okay? Let's go to the live questions.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dorothea Mataji, can you?
Yes, Prabhu. These discussions are very nectarian. So about a follow-up question about what you said about hearing Krishna Lila with the motive to experience Bhakti Ras. Is that a reference to Shravanam Dasha with the aim of coming to Varana Dasha, or is that, am I confusing something here?
Bhakti Ras, all forms of Ras are experienced within the heart. And function of heart is Smaran. So experience of Bhakti Ras will happen within the heart. And therefore, experience of Bhakti Ras will start happening in Smarana Dasha. Shravan Dasha, you are absorbing the facts, you are absorbing the Leela through your ears. Varana Dasha, you are selecting your aim of life. Smarana Dasha, you have started your sadhana. And when that sadhana has started of churning what is there in the heart, because that is a big neglected part of our body, our heart. churning of what is actually within our heart, and churning and seeing how much does Shri Krishna exist within the heart. And that is when the real work begins. Everything else is, chanting a certain number of rounds. You do it with the physical senses and you can say, I have done it. But churning the heart, that requires real honesty, and that requires real dedication. That's not simply a product of mechanical moving of the gross senses. So that in Smarana Dasha, that devotee is put through the test, whether they really have Krishna. And in the heart are also the biggest enemies who are sitting there. So how do you tackle those biggest enemies who are sitting there already? Because those enemies, they are not visibly manifest on the gross senses, but those enemies are manifest within the heart. So how do you deal with that? How do you clean the heart? So that whole process of sadhana is to cleanse the heart, and therefore Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The first phrase was that how to cleanse your heart and begin the process of Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. So all of that within the heart. So Smarana Dasha is where the culture will formally start. Although the mental preparation should start from Shravana Dasha, the actual culture starts from Smarana Dasha. That is the answer to the query.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bhaktin Srishti. You're breaking up quite a bit.
I've written my questions on the chat box. My voice breaking. I had a question regarding the statement that a person after achieving the half state is born again to attain the final state of bhakti and to be called the Dāsa. And I was thinking that
We can't understand the question, Mataji. It's very, very feeble and looks like your internet is very poor.
I think there is a problem with the mic. I think you need to speak closer to the mic if it is possible, or else maybe you can. If it is still not possible, then maybe you can send the query in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, let's do that.
yes, the question is in the chat right now.
Yeah. Omkeshwar Omkareshwar Prabhu, Omkar Prabhu, I think has posted a long question. I couldn't read it. I couldn't focus on reading it and hearing the class simultaneously. But if you can read it, he has posted a question signed off as Bhaktin Srishti.
Acha, I should read. Okay, let me read. I have a question regarding the statement that a person after having bhav stage is born again to attain the final stage of bhakti and reach Golok Vrindavan Dham. I was asking myself that Srila Prabhupada said so clearly with full confidence that if we strictly follow 4 regulative principles, making sure to chant 16 rounds on the beads, without a doubt we can go home to Krishna 50 years. One chants Hare Krishna is sure to become perfect. So how to understand these different statements? How do you understand these different statements? Do you want a statement of guarantee that in 50 years you can go back to Godhead? Somebody wants a statement of, why do you want to go back to Godhead? Why not stay here? What is the problem in staying here? The first question I will ask is this: why do we want to go back to Godhead? Is love of Krishna conditioned by the desire to go back to Godhead? Why not just become free of that shackle by saying, Bhagavan, I don't want to go back to Godhead. There's no point. I don't have love. What is the point? I'm happy staying here if your love manifests within my heart. All the ingredients for loving you are available in the material world. Why should I go back to Godhead? And those guarantees are good. 50 years. Why 50 years? One Shuddha Naam can take back to Godhead. It cannot be distilled into a material formula. I think we had long discussions about this in the Upadeshamritam series. Why do we want to go back home, back to Godhead? It is another selfish desire, right? That we want to be happy, live happily ever after. So, Rupa Goswami said, na, Bhukti Mukti Spriha Yavat Pishachi. It's a ghost sitting on the heart. This desire that I want to go back home, back to Godhead. Give up this desire and be happy now. Be happy now. Give up this desire and be happy now. Say to yourself, I don't want to go back home, back to Godhead. I want Krishna Prem. So many acharyas said, Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, Pashu Pakshi hai thaki swarge va nirai, tava bhakti rahu bhakti vinoda hriday. I become a bird or a beast. As long as your bhakti stays within my heart, I am bhakti vinod. I will be happy. So, why do you want to go back home, back to Godhead? Back to Godhead should be a side effect of Krishna Prem. We are giving it way too much importance. It should be a side effect of experiencing Krishna Prem. Our main aim is Prema Pumartho Mahan. Prem is the aim to be attained. Going back to Godhead, if it comes before Prem, then it is a selfish desire. We shouldn't try to entertain those selfish desires, especially on the path of love. If we have set out to love Bhagavan, then we should be prepared that it may take a few lifetimes. Are we prepared to give it? If the answer is yes, then it is truly selfless. If you want everything in one life, then that is not how, that is not the mental disposition that is expected from a genuine sadhaka. That is the answer. The Uddhav went to gopis and he said, why don't you meditate on me? Why are you crying? Why don't you meditate? The absolute truth. He's the absolute truth. And you can get liberated by meditating upon him. Why are you crying? No, we don't want to become liberated. Who told you we wanted to become liberated? We're crying because we love him. That's all. We are crying because we love him. That's what we want. So that needs to be understood. Gaudiya Vaishnava culture is a very different culture. It's not mainly about going back home, back to Godhead. It is mainly about loving Bhagavan causelessly, giving oneself to Bhagavan causelessly without expecting anything in return. And going back to Godhead can become an obstacle on that path if it takes priority over Krishna Prem. If it takes priority over Krishna Prem, then it becomes an obstacle on the path. That is the answer to the query. I'm sorry, I didn't answer the query because there's no formula for going back to Godhead. There's only one formula. You have Prema. And there are so many who have Prema, but who has still not gone. Like Hanuman, he's still present. He has Prema, he's still present. There's no formula for going back to Godhead. So, you cannot boil it down in a formula. Why did Prabhupada give such a statement? Because it is always nice to encourage new devotees. It's always nice to encourage new devotees. But the older ones should know, should have a more mature understanding. And there are many places where Prabhupada says, and I had pointed it out also, that the devotee doesn't want to go to Goloka. There was a quote by Srila Prabhupada where I had pointed it out. The devotee doesn't want to go to Goloka. Devotee simply wants to love Bhagavan. So, moksha is rejected in the first verse of the Bhagavata. That understanding we should develop thoroughly. Otherwise, every day we are living with the anxiety, will I go back home, back to Godhead? Will I go back home, back to Godhead? Before death, we are dying 1,000 times every day. What is the point of living such a life? Live a life in such a way that you try to love. And even if you fail, at least you tried. That is the life worth living. Bhagavan will take care of the rest. Going back to Godhead is Bhagavan's headache. That is not my headache. Taking back to Godhead is Bhagavan's headache. My headache is to see if I develop the proper mode. That's all I came here for. That's it.
Thank you so much. Pure nectar. Next, we will go to Arvind Kumar Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. Yeah. So my question is, it is said that Jivatma is Sachidanand on a minute level, but and it's on also experiences bliss on its constitutional position. But on today's class, you explained that Jivatma is dependent upon rasa for experience bliss yanand. So how to understand this?
If you remove Bhagwan from the picture, can Jiva experience Anand by itself? Please answer the query. Kumar Prabhu. Let's unmute him.
No, Prabhuji.
No. So, Jiva's happiness is conditional or unconditional? Inherent or dependent on somebody?
Dependent, but it is also said, na, it is minute. Jivatma is Sachidanand, minute level.
Sure. Understand. I understand that. But is Jiva's happiness conditional due to Bhagwan's presence or not conditional?
Conditional.
Of course it is conditional. And is Bhagwan's happiness conditional or unconditional?
Unconditional.
So there lies the difference.
So this minute jo Ananda ye Brahmananda ki level
the minute Ananda is also, it also expects presence of Bhagwan or presence of the impersonal Brahman. Devoid of that presence, the Jiva cannot become happy in a self-sufficient manner. The Jiva does not have self-sufficient happiness. The Jiva's happiness is conditional happiness dependent on the presence of Brahma, Paramatma or Bhagwan.
Yes, Guruji. So I have another follow-up question, another different question. Can I ask now?
Yeah, is related to this query? Yeah.
No, another question.
Okay, so let's come back. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Prabhuji, there's one question on the chat. I'll just quickly read it. By Devansh Prabhu. So his question is related to Shantaras, and he's quoting Srila Prabhupada. He's saying basically that Srila Prabhupada writes, the essence of all instructions is to render service in the heart under the guidance of Krishna's dear devotees who reside in Vraja, the cows, the flute, the kadamba trees, the other living entities in Shantaras, semicolon, Chitrak, Patrak, Ratrak, and others in Dasiras, and so on. But in Śrī-Caitanya-Charitamrita, Adi Leela 3:11-12, it's mentioned that Krishna in Vraja only enjoys the first four rasas. So the question is, where does Shantras, how to understand this?
No, this question is not correct. Krishna does not enjoy the first four. Krishna enjoys all five rasas. In Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the first rasa is not given. The remaining four are given. Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya could have given Shantaras. Then my name would have begun with Hari Parshad Shant, not Hari Parshad Das. But the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya begins with Dasya. So Dasya Ras is the first ras that is ras that is given, first level of ras that is given. Other rasas are also given, but Shanta Ras is not given. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that Shanta contains more of an impersonal understanding of Bhagwan. So that rasa is not given in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. It may be present partly in Vrindavan, but it does not make its manifestation in the Madhurya aspect of Shri Vrindavan. It doesn't have any presence in the Shuddha Madhurya aspect of Shri Vrindavan. It may be present in other compartments of Shri Vrindavan, but not in that compartment where Shuddha Madhurya is present. There, even the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, even the cows are laden with Vatsalya, even the trees are laden with Dasya. So that rasa does not make a manifestation in Shuddha Vrindavan. It may be present in other compartments of Vrindavan where Aishwarya Bhav is more prominent. That is the answer.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, Mohit Deshmukh Prabhu, kindly go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat. First of all, I want to thank you that you are teaching us continuously more than 2.5 hours and clearing everyone's doubt till they're satisfied. So first of all, thank you so much for that. And
thank you to my teachers, all of them, who taught me with much greater patience, and they were much better than me because they had a stick in their hand. So they're much hundreds of times better than me. I learned because of them. I learned everything because of them. I learned because they had a stick in their hand when they were teaching. Otherwise, a person like me would have never learned. So all credit to them.
So Prabhuji, my question was regarding a very beautiful line you said in the Katha, that was that we should accept to love Shri Krishna even if he is Nagar. Like it depends on us, individual choice, that if we want to love Krishna even if he is Nagar. So I want its glimpse how gopis have accepted to love Krishna, even though they know that he is loving other gopis also. He is a Nagar.
How, you have to churn your heart. I told you, you have to churn your heart. You have to actually get serious about loving a particular person. Then you have to consider the personality of that person. What is the nature of Sri Krishna? Let's say if I would be in the sampradaya where Bhagavan Ram is being worshipped. So it's so easy. He's the personification of dharma. My goodness. Everything in perfect order. His behavior doesn't deviate from dharma. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I am in a sampradaya where the leading personality speaks lies, and he loves many women at the same time, and his nature is that of a libertine, and he cries falsely. So, how do you love such a person? First and foremost, how do you love such a person? So that when you try to turn your heart, because in the material world, if your lover loves somebody else, my goodness, you will be heartbroken. You'll be heartbroken. Can you live in a relationship with a person in the material world when you know that the person also loves somebody else?
No, we can't.
No, we can't. No, we can't. How will you live with Krishna? How will you live with Krishna? Well, Mohit Prabhu, there's still time. Bhagavan Ram is still there.
No, Prabhu, I want Shyam Sundar only.
All right. Yeah. You don't just select Shyam Sundar because your group of Vaishnavas has selected Shyam Sundar. Not by popular vote. So the answer is that there is a level of love where you are happy in making the other person happy. If the other person is happy in loving somebody else, I would rather see them happy in that love rather than abandoning that person. That sort of love requires deeper maturity. Because people will call you a loser for loving somebody who loves somebody else. Isn't it?
Yes.
You don't have any pratishtha. Nobody in the society takes gopis as the ideal. They take Sita Devi as the ideal. We'll take gopis as the ideal. So you have to be willing to sacrifice social status in order to come to that point. But that is only attained after a certain maturity. In prema is attained. And then once you are comfortable and you have fully digested the fact that I will be happy in Krishna's happiness, that is when something can begin. Otherwise, we don't really know Krishna. I'll be very honest with you. Till that point of time, we really don't know Krishna. Because if we see the personality of Krishna, he is a very different personality. That Mahabharat Krishna is very different.
Yes.
And this Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna is very different. Right? Most of us may be having the Mahabharat Krishna in our mind. But in Vrindavan, Shri Krishna is very different. Very different. So I don't want to get into more intimate details about Krishna's personality because it's something which we should discover by ourselves. But therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to call him Lampat in this Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. There's a reason for that.
So we are attracting to the pastimes actions of Krishna, but the only thing that is he is loving at others also at the same time. So we have to sacrifice that of wanting that he should love only us.
Yeah,
We should
yeah,
sacrifice that.
yeah, exclusivity
Ah.
has to be sacrificed. Are you willing to do that?
I will try my best.
Oh, sure. Try your best. Try your best. Try your best. It's not about trying. It's about gaining a certain level of understanding of prema. And it's very important to come to that point where
Yes.
you're loving a Bhagwan, because especially for those who are sadhakas of Madhurya Ras. In Dasya Ras, you're okay with Bhagwan loving other Dasas. In Sakya Ras,
Yes.
you're okay with Bhagwan loving other Sakhas. Madhurya Ras, oh no, 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 no. Oh, no. How difficult that will be. And people are thinking after death, I will think about all these things. No, you have to sort all these things in this life. Right? And I'm very clear, I'm speaking this out clearly so that there are no illusions about this. Somebody, my guru will do it for me. My acharya will do it for me. My best wishes. My best wishes. No, you have to develop the culture. The guru will not, the guru has already developed that culture. You have to develop that culture within your heart. You have to come to terms with Krishna's personality. So that is the answer to the query. All right.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. All right. I think Arvind, Dorothea Mataji already asked a second question, right? So we'll go to Arvind Prabhu for his second question, then come back and close with you. Arvind Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So in your class on Bhakti Rasa, you gave an example of Bhakti Bhojan Rasa. So in case of Bhojan Rasa, a Jivatma has its favorite Bhojan Rasa. And sometimes he also wants to taste another rasas also. So in the case of Bhakti Rasa, so a devotee has
I understand. I understand.
Bhojan Rasa. So can he also experience other rasas in relation with other devotees?
Sure. So in case of eating food also, the taste is called rasa. I'm making the question easy for everybody to understand. Everybody has a favorite flavor, but they also like to taste other flavors. In Bhakti Ras, everybody has one predominant sthai bhav, but do they experience other emotion, other bhavas? Yes, other bhavas which are friendly to that may come up as sanchari, transitory emotions, but they don't become sthai. Sthai is your prominent emotion. Others which are favorable, for example, Hasya Ras is favorable to Madhurya Ras. So sometimes the gopis experience Hasya Ras as a transitory emotion. But it doesn't become because Hasya is a secondary Ras. It doesn't become the predominant emotion. So other rasas may be experienced as transitory. They become Vyabhichari bhavs. So that is the answer to the query. You have one sthai bhav and other friendly bhavas may become transitory, sanchari bhav. They come and they go and they nourish your main sthai bhav. That is the answer to your query. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We really need a series on Bhakti Rasamrita, Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhus, the southern and western and the other oceans divisions from you, Prabhuji.
We need a dramatic performance of Lalit Madhav, Vidak Madhav, and the audience should sit and learn. But who will act? Anyways. Okay, let's move ahead.
Yes, but Dorothea Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, my pranams. Actually, there is a series already by Haripasha Prabhu about Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it didn't reach the Ras section. It just went to Anya Bhilashi Shunyam. And then for some reason, the students couldn't continue. They understood the teacher is very boring. The students should continue.
Maybe too qualified. So my question is regarding the intense training that we should that we want to impose on ourselves to experience Bhakti Ras alone. So besides studying Shastras that help us understand Bhakti Ras, and what other things can we do? For example, when we feel, should we analyze some situations for bhakti ras. For example, if we are doing some seva, having a conversation with a devotee, or hearing a kirtan, then should we always be analyzing, am I actually experiencing bhakti ras, or am I experiencing mundane ras, or should we just let it come and go without analyzing? Or, yeah.
So there is no imposition in this entire process. We are not supposed to force bhakti ras upon ourselves. The culture of bhakti ras should be developed very organically by following what Srila Rupa Goswami has specified, and I will so I will specify this. I am sharing my screen. Rupa Goswami wrote Natak Chandrika. Natak Chandrika is his literature on understanding drama and rasa. And he said, Viksha Bharata Muni Shastram, Rasapurva Sudhakaram Charamaniyam, Lakshanamati Sankshepad Vilikhyate Natakasyedam. What did he do? He said, I first understood Bharat Muni's literature. And then I understood Rasarana Sudhakar. This is another literature which is not easily available. But Bharat Muni's understanding of Ras, he first got it from Bharat Muni's literature. And for us, we can get it from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu or Priti Sandarbha. Because we may not have, if we don't have access to Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, then we can get it from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu or Priti Sandarbha. We should understand the entire concept of Bhakti Ras, what is the concept of Ras, how is Ras experienced, what are the technical terms, what is Drishya Kavya, Shravya Kavya, what is Sadharanikaran, what are in a drama, what are the sandhis, what are the different aspects of a drama, how is the plot of a drama made. All of this Rupa Goswami is going to discuss in Natak Chandrika. How is the plot of a drama made? The plot of a drama should be based on which characters and how should the story be framed. And then based on all of that, then when we read a devotional poetry, then we have all the background in our mind. Then we should try to see if we are experiencing some of those rasas. So also it is very helpful if in childhood one has had a culture of viewing theater, not movies, theater. There's a difference between theater and movies. If one has had the culture of seeing theater in childhood, so they have those impressions of seeing ras directly being acted in front of them. So Bharat Muni is material ras, but it serves as a basis for understanding bhakti ras, because the framework is more or less same. So there is no artificial imposition on the mind. It is just a culture of understanding Bharat Muni, a culture of understanding Bhakti Ras through Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and Priti Sandarbha, and to not make a mistake in understanding any of the concepts. And after that, a study of any literature will be very nice, because then you have the entire framework, the tools with you. And then once you have all the tools, more or less, things will start making sense. Once they start making sense, it will be very easy. People just want to force themselves into somehow understand. There is a culture of, you can't force yourself to learn how to cook. There's a culture of learning how to cook. Patience is needed. And you can't learn by self-analysis. You can't learn cooking by self-analysis all the time. Cooking has to be learned by gaining knowledge from the proper sources and then put it with a calm frame of mind, practicing it. And some mistakes will be made on the way, corrections will happen. In due course of time, we will become learned enough so that we can have some bhakti ras. So that culture is needed. Okay, that is the answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's not about not doing anything, just analyzing. That will not help. You need some training from an external source. And that external sources Rupa Goswami mentions, Bharat Muni, Rasarana Sudhakar. But those sources, if they are not easily accessible, then Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the whole Rasa section, and Priti Sandarbha, which describes the entire section of Rasa in great detail. So that is the answer to you.
Thank you very much, Parama.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this very, very wonderful session and question answer session. Prabhuji, my question is regarding whether we have to feel or one has to feel happy that where we are getting closer to Krishna anyway in this path of Krishna consciousness every moment, every day, in every activity we are doing. This is the question, whether we have to feel happy or like as we are getting closer to Krishna. And with this question, I want to give 2-3 statements that you gave today in the class, that how is it possible, like one have to be very generous, one has to genuinely cry also for Krishna, to give Krishna prema, and one has to be very generous and not possessive and be matured when he loves someone else, and on top of that, not to ask that I want to go back home, and be happy wherever one is and just ask for Krishna prema. It's very difficult.
Of course.
And one more thing I want to add upon that, and I also heard that sometimes we have to cry to get Krishna prema. So one, whether it is sometimes the devotee who is genuinely in this path, sometimes he cries, sometimes he is happy, or how?
The devotee who is on the path, who has attained Krishna Prem, automatically cries, automatically becomes happy. He doesn't have a schedule for crying or for becoming happy. You can't do that mechanically. There's a verse, Evam vrataha sva priyanama kirtya jatanurago drita chitta uchchair hasatyatho roditi rauti gayati. They spontaneously cry, they spontaneously. Mataji, I'm just giving us example. I know that in many devotee societies, mundane examples are not very much appreciated, but they are the only window we have to understand any sort of relationships. In any relationship between parents or lovers, do we need to be told, Mataji, when to become happy or when to cry? Please tell me.
No, Prabhuji. It's
No.
natural.
So these questions actually don't have an answer. Because it's like asking, you go to a counselor, wedding counselor, and they say, when should I become happy and when should I cry? So the counselor will say, well, it's your relationship. So it's between both of you. So it's like that, Mataji. I'm put in a tight spot when I'm asked questions like these, because really speaking, there's no answer. It's a personal relationship that you're supposed to have with Krishna. So that relationship should dictate when to laugh, when to cry. Who am I to speak for somebody else's relationship? So everything will fall in place. What we are trying to do, we are trying to develop the symptoms first and the main object later. That is wrong. We should have the main object first and the symptoms automatically develop around it. Mataji, what comes first? Does the fragrance come first or does the flower develop first? What happens?
Flower develops.
And then if I ask a question, how do I develop this fragrance first? Well, that's not what it is. First, you need to have a flower in order to develop a fragrance. As soon as you have a sthai bhav, automatically all the crying, laughing will fall into place. But we don't have that, then we are trying to develop the symptoms independently. That is not going to happen. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing is clear.
Yeah.
This is how it will be, like a devotee. He will be sometime happy, sometime he will be crying. This is how it will be.
Yeah. And when they truly love Krishna, they are okay with the fact that our Bhagavan shares his love with other devotees.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Looks like one last question by Dorothea Mataji is okay.
One very short query and then we'll end. It's 11:20. One very short query and we'll end.
Yes, very short. It's actually just a comment, because I also was thinking about the 5-year-old gopis who were worshipping Kartikeya to get Krishna as their husband, and actually they there didn't seem to be any envy or anything between them, because they were just fully aware of the fact that Krishna can fully reciprocate with each one of them individually. So just
Yeah, but they're also aware of the fact that Krishna loves all of them. And the moment they became a little proud in the Ras Leela, no, Krishna exclusively loves me, that's when Krishna disappeared. It's a very difficult relationship. And do we want to sign up for it? That question we need to ask. Because there are many other relationships to consider with Krishna. Being a friend, being a servant, being a parent. Should everyone sign up for the highest fruit from the tallest tree? That we need to ask. So that needs a sacrifice that other relationships don't. I won't say much. I'll pause my speech there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is such a nectarian class. And thank you for your patience. Almost 3 hours. Your talk was 1 hour and then 2 hours of patiently asking questions. I request all the devotees, the absolute least we can do is to, from the bottom of our hearts, thank Prabhuji.
Śrī-Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you to Śrī Chaitanya.
Whose mercy is flowing through devotees.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful class.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
That's a
Thank
wonderful
you so
class.
much, Prabhu, for this
All
wonderful
thank you very much.
class.
All
Hare
praise to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank
Jai
you,
Srila
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada.
Always grateful to you.
Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so
Never
much.
indebted.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Srila
so
Prabhupada.
much. Hare Krishna.
Jai
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, nice room.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Sri Radhe.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you all the devotees. I'll sign off now and we'll see you all next year. Wish you all a very happy new year. All right. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.